Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Terri Quinlan, and this is On Cue. And this evening, I have a very special guest. She is an incredibly talented young lady of 18, and she recently graduated from Corona Del Mar High School. She recently got an award, a presidential award, as an incredible artist. She also just had her 18th birthday, and now, in addition to the award, she now has a scholarship to go to USC and be a part of their amazing music department. Quite a lot to happen to such a young person, and she's just incredibly wise as well. So we're going to get to talk to her a little bit later. Right now, I'm going to step aside and just let her come on, and she's going to introduce three of her really great. All of her songs are great, but this is going to be a special night that you get to hear three of her songs. So take it away. And oh, I didn't say her name. Her name is Sophia Rabin, and she's online. If you miss anything tonight, you can look for her on social media, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So stay tuned. Do not go away. This is going to be amazing.
Hello, my name is Sophia Rabin. This is a song called Indirect Collision. To check anymore. You're too good at spending my time. Pull me in just the way you did before. There's a cinema in my head where the staff play the same four movies. Memories are on the big screen. All recounts of the promises you couldn't keep. That's your own fault. Someone else's blood, indirect collision, baby. Pull the trigger, but never soon enough. And I know this habit's empty, filled with air that somebody bought from you. Shut me up and make me ready. Move my mouth into the shape of I love you. That's your own fault.
Somebody else. I spent too
Perfect. This next song is really new. I wrote it pretty recently. And one thing about me is I really like pop music. I like a lot of different kinds of music, and I have influences from pretty much every genre you can think of. But I do really, really love a good, catchy, classic pop song, and somehow I was able to make one on a guitar and make it sound catchy. But this is about miscommunication and being a little bit in love. So it's called Phone Tag. Can't talk right now. You've always got another excuse. What the hell am I supposed to do? I didn't mean what I said last night. You probably was somebody new. What the hell am I supposed to do? 'Cause I would drive all night, but you're in a different time zone. Fight that fight, but this isn't feeling right though. I missed your call 100 times, but it's gonna be alright. I'm so sorry, I will call you tonight. Oh baby, can't sleep and I'm missing your eyes. We're playing phone tag for the rest of our lives. We're playing phone tag till the day that we die. I am so sorry, I will call you tonight. I'll admit I was wrong, now I know that you're right. We're playing phone tag for the rest of our lives. We're playing phone tag till the day that we die. I know you can't talk right now, but I'm sitting here worried about you. What the hell am I supposed to do? Probably don't feel the same, and I tried to move on, but I miss you. Can you tell me what I'm supposed to do? 'Cause I would drive all night, but you're in a different time zone. Fight that fight, but this isn't feeling right though. I missed your call 100 times, but it's gonna be alright. I'm so sorry, I will call you tonight. Baby, I can't sleep and I'm missing your eyes. We're playing phone tag for the rest of our lives. We're playing phone tag till the day that we die. I am so sorry, I will call you tonight. I'll admit I was wrong, now I know that you're right. We're playing phone tag for the rest of our lives. We're playing phone tag till the day that we die. For the rest of our lives. I get a drunk text, you're under the influence. You got me convinced, oh, that this time you really mean it. I get a drunk text, you're under the influence. You got me convinced, oh, that this time you really mean it. I'm so sorry, I will call you tonight. Oh baby, I can't sleep and I'm missing your eyes. We're playing phone tag for the rest of our lives. We're playing phone tag till the day that we die. I am so sorry, I will call you tonight. I'll admit I was wrong, now I know that you're right. We're playing phone tag for the rest of our lives. We're playing phone tag till the day that we die. The day that we die. The day that we die. Playing phone tag till the day that we die. The day that we die. The day that we die. This next song is really special to me because I wrote it about someone who's very special to me in my life, and that would be my mom. Just about a year ago, I had to drive her to the hospital because my dad was out of town and my brother's younger than me, so he didn't have his license. And it was about 5 in the morning. It was very scary, and I really didn't like seeing her in all that pain. And it was just a hard day for all of us. But I remember so distinctly we were sitting in the waiting room, and she was like, "This is going to be your next hit single." And I was like, "What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, you're in pain? I would never exploit anyone for pain for songwriting credit. Never." I was gonna do it later, but it's okay. But she kind of gave me the go-ahead, and then my kind of head started turning, and it took me a little bit out of the pain. And I was driving home on a car with no brakes, which is a story for another time. And I've got my voice memos up as I'm driving. Do not condone this, but I was kind of writing the chorus melody on the way home from the hospital, and it took me about a week to finish this song, but I have to say it's probably the most special thing I've ever created. So this is called Shadows of Airplanes. Love you, Mom. I thought I'd feel better than I did before, but I took a wrong turn and took the long way home. I couldn't find out where you were, it scared me. Breathe in and breathe out and lean over the gurney. I'll wait by the door and I'll try not to worry. You're holding your head like a child, it scares me. Oh, but shadows of airplanes over the 405 distract me from the pain that you must be feeling tonight. Everything's in slow motion. I thought I could take it, but I wanna go home. The doctors and nurses all know you by name. The waiting room's cold, there's no one to blame. You're caving back to yourself, and it scares me. And I don't wanna look you right in the eyes. I'm afraid that I'll see some fragment of mine, and selfishly I just want to leave, and that scares me, that scares me. Oh, but shadows of airplanes over the 405, they watch me panic in the front seat as I begin to cry. Everything's in slow motion. I thought I could take it, but I wanna go home. But these hands can't save you. Oh, they barely save themselves. And I'm sorry for breaking. No, I can't think of anyone else. I can't be your ambulance. I'm driving as fast as I can. Oh, but shadows of airplanes over the 405, they watch My name is Sophia Rabin. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, very good. Nice. That was really exciting to listen to Sophia Rabin give her all for this music that she has. This is just 3 of her songs. She's got so many more, hundreds probably. We met at Campus Jacks a couple months ago, and her talent, I just was so impressed with everything about her, her demeanor, her performance, her stage presence. I was like, how did this all start for this young lady? And I just had to bring her in the studio. So I'm glad you stayed tuned, and now we get to really have a conversation about music making, because she's got definitely an art form with this whole thing. So welcome to the program. I'm so glad I get to talk to you tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. This was so awesome.
We talked a little bit on the phone, and then we've talked for about an hour. So I hope I cover everything that we talked, because it was a really amazing conversation.
I feel like.
Yeah. We started, and while we're doing this program, a couple of your photos that you sent me are part of the graphics. And one of them is you you're sitting at the piano with your dad.
Yep.
About how old were you when that picture was taken?
I want to say probably like three or four, probably. Very, very young, because that was when I still lived back in Atlanta. That was at my grandmother's house.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like a proud dad was sitting next to you. And
he was, yes, he was, that was such a great day. I don't remember it at all, but I know it led me here somehow. But music has been a part of my life since before I can even remember. As soon as my first memories started happening, I was already playing. I was already playing live. I was already doing things.
So you didn't really, like, some kids have to take lessons or something like that. So you're just saying that you're a prodigy and that it just automatically comes to you.
No. I definitely had lots of instruction. It came a lot from my dad. My perfect pitch helped a lot, which means like if you sang a note right now, like I could tell you which note it was. It helped me identify. But part of that was I had to do a little bit of classical piano. I did that for a couple of years. And so my piano teacher was like, wait, how did you know that was an A? When she played it, I wasn't looking. And I was like, I don't know. I just kind of knew. Like as soon as I started, I had to learn a bit of fundamentals. So that was through classical piano. And I've had a couple of instructors for voice, but it hasn't been like, it was very quickly to like learn the fundamentals, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna go make music now. I don't know, I just kind of took off.
This is your destiny, it sounds like. Yeah.
It's been that way for a really long time, yeah.
And so I think we talked about the fact that, and this is really important to me, whenever a young person can get music in school.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
You did, and now you're even teaching. So
yeah. I got music really young. It wasn't necessarily through my school, but kind of the first band I was ever a part of was a band called the Gallivantics, and I bring them up in every interview because they're still some of my closest friends. It was 5 of us, and we started it in kindergarten. Somehow we were musically gifted enough in kindergarten to do it, but we, practiced like twice a week, and I picked up, that was when I was playing acoustic guitar, and I played a little bit of bass. At that point, the bass was probably a foot taller than I was. But I played piano, drums. I got kind of exposed to all these different instruments, and it was just such a fun way to learn how to make music, because I was making it with my best friends. I was making it with people that I really loved and cared about, and somehow they let us play at the House of Blues. I've watched.
And how old were you when this happened?
I do not remember the exact year. I want to say like 7. Like,
oh my God. That's
and I
so
mean,
amazing.
I watched the footage and I go, oh, adorable. Not, wow, they're really talented. So take it with a grain of salt. We were just put up there because we were cute, but it's kind of a cool resume builder.
Totally. Yeah. And what about, were you nervous when because most kids do not like to be on stage and the performance and the audience, it's like butterflies, did you just not have any of that kind of experience?
I was a really confident kid. And that's a lot of the reason is because my parents always encouraged me to like make music, like put me on the right track, gave me the right instruction from these amazing teachers, and put me in situations that like would push me. And honestly, I have just been on stage for so long. I've been playing in my family's backyard since literally before I can remember. So I've just been performing in front of people for many, many, many years.
Your whole life.
And so as soon as so nerves sometimes, yeah, when there's like stakes on the line, like when I go to compete, I get nervous, but that's kind of also a good thing. But a lot of the times I get on stage at Campus Jacks or local places and, I know the crowd, I know the sound system. Usually when I get nervous, it's because the tech isn't working or like I can't hear myself or something like is going haywire in that department. But if it's just me on stage, everything's going well, then I don't know, I'm just coasting.
Yeah, it really helps to work with people that know what they're doing and somebody who doesn't can really mess it up for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now one of the things you told me was that you used to play music on the front porch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How that? I'm picturing it. Was there a rocking chair? Was there like you in the sunshine? What was that like?
I lived in like the flower streets in Corona del Mar. I used to live there, and if you're familiar, it's very like crowded and there's lots of foot traffic, especially on weekends. And so my dad would go out there and sit and play. And when I first got my first guitar, it was a GS Mini, so it actually fit my body because I was playing my dad's guitar. I was playing like this. But when I got my first guitar, I would sit out there with him and kind of just play music with him, and like passerbys would just walk by. And we had a next door neighbor down there who would come over and play his bass, and people would just walk by and listen, and our neighbors would listen. God bless their ears for listening to me as like an 8-year-old. I don't know why they did that, but that was just, I got so much experience from like playing in front of people, whether it was one person or 150 people. I was just always doing something, and I don't know, that prohibited me from having any nerves. It just kind of makes it my happy place now.
It sounds like it's just like eating or like a normal thing to do.
Eat,
part
sleep,
of your
get
life.
on stage in front of 700 people, repeat. Pretty.
Yeah.
It's become very natural, and it doesn't make me nervous. It makes me very like happy. I get so excited when I get the opportunity to play anywhere. So, yeah.
So most of what I've heard you perform are original songs.
Mm-hmm.
So who are some of your other influences that you really gravitate to as far as to inspire you to do this writing?
Absolutely. I think from the very beginning, it was Taylor Swift. She kind of put out music. It was just starting out as I was like really young, and so I've kind of grown up with her and with her music, and my writing has evolved like alongside hers, but very much like listening to her early stuff in the car on my dad's CD player back then, and listening to their harmonies and like listening to the melodies, and I sort of somehow had this like sense of what was right about a song and what was wrong about a song, and so I was kind of able to emulate all of these things from her. And as I started emulating, I wrote a bunch of terrible songs when I was 5, because I was 5 years old. I was actually looking through that last night in my little old notebooks, and I was looking at the way I spelled different words. Like I spelled pacing wrong, but I think I spelled it Pasting, like pasting around my room. I just didn't know what I was doing, but I was always drawn to create. So I think Taylor Swift is definitely a big influence. I've loved Coldplay. My dad loved Coldplay, and he would play them all the time as well. So that was a big band I was inspired by. Coming up now, songwriters like Phoebe Bridgers, bands like Paramore. I kind of draw from all different genres because there is something I can pick out of every single song. Like, you wouldn't call me a pop punk artist just after that selection you listen to, but I love Paramore. They're a great pop punk band, and I pull from Hayley Williams' lyricism, and her melody building, and the way they write their rhythmic sections and their guitar parts. So I kind of pick things apart from the whole picture and take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
It's pretty obvious that you're not stuck in any one genre. That just with what the little bit you did tonight, it's pretty obvious that your singer-songwriting talent is you're really honed in. And I remember when Taylor Swift was just beginning to get her awards, Grammy Award, that kind of thing, and recognition, because I always thought she was just an amazing talent. So when you're young and you've got the time and the energy to take an influence like that and move forward, it's going to be so exciting.
Yes, it definitely made me very excited about music. There was so much about when I was a kid that made me excited. It started with my family, then it moved to being in the band with my friends, then starting to become a fan. That's something that's so important to me, is just being a fan of a lot of music and consuming a lot of music and listening to it. So like, I wasn't just sitting in stuffy piano lessons with a teacher that was mean. Like, I had so much love and happiness surrounding music, which is probably part of the reason I stuck with it for so long, and I'm still sticking with it, obviously.
So let's talk a little bit about this award that you got, because that you had to put some energy into even applying and all that. Talk about how you got to that point and the result of your winnings, and tell us all about that. I did look online and saw, and there's a lot of good information there because a lot of other people have had this award, but you're one of them, and you're here with us now. So tell us, and if you have any recommendation to some other young person who is thinking about a music career, tell us how you ended up in this wonderful win.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I got the news a long time ago, and I'm still processing it, and I still don't actually believe that it's real. But I'm a U.S. presidential scholar in the arts, and there was a lot of steps that led me to that. I have been fortunate enough to have been involved in a lot of summer intensives. That's part of the way that my craft has been sharpened, and not only that, but I've been able to network. Half of my friends now are because I went to either Grammy Camp, I went to Young Arts, I went to intensive through UCLA, Berklee School of Music. I kind of just hit all the bases. Thank you, Mom, for that.
So let's talk a little bit. For some people, some musicians who I've known just hang out in their garage, right? And they play
do a lot of that.
a little, but they don't do anything else, right? So no one really hears them, and they don't have the quality of workmanship to work with other people. So they don't see any benefit because they just play on their own, So, but you, obviously, from your experience of interacting with all these people, for people who are stuck in the garage and don't do, because I know plenty of people who do the singer-songwriter workshops, and they always benefit. Some great songs come out of some of those workshops. So tell the watching audience what that's like, the singer-songwriter workshops, and what's the mechanics of that? How has it helped you along?
I think what's interesting about my experience is that I'm only 18. I just turned 18 in May, and my whole life I've been writing music, but I can't say the same about pretty much anybody else in Newport Beach. I know there are people at least for people my age. In my high school, I was the only songwriter. And so going to these places has helped me make friends and realize, oh my God, there's this whole world out there that I get to go to as soon as I'm done here. I have so many friends at Orange County School of the Arts. They have this whole community of songwriters. And that was just something I didn't have in high school, but I'm so lucky because that all led me to going to Young Arts, and I auditioned for that, and I got selected as a national finalist, and that led me to go to Miami by myself, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then that was where I ended up competing. I made so many friends, and it really didn't feel like a competition, but I competed against 6 other brilliant songwriters who I'm still friends with today, but I ended up winning first place out of that, and then I got recommended by the instructors to be a U.S. presidential scholar in the arts. Then I had to fill out an application. Then I got narrowed down out of that as a semifinalist. Then I got narrowed down out of that. And I am 1 in 20 U.S. presidential scholars in the arts. So that's how that all led to that. But it was because of making friends, making connections, and networking within that whole community of songwriters.
That's so amazing. Yeah. Truly it is. So the competition, where did you went to Florida. There's a video online on YouTube that has you playing piano with one of your songs, and that was part of your award. Was it one song that gets you the award, or a combination of things? It was,
so Shadows of Airplanes was the song I played. I played that last here, actually. I played it on piano there, but I rearranged it for tonight for guitar. But that was just one piece of the puzzle. A lot of what they were looking for is leadership, who took ownership, what kind of feedback were you giving to your peers. We wrote a lot of songs together. I listened to a lot of songs, the way I added on. And also my involvement at my high school. I'm in leadership at my high school. I'm in choir at my high school. I played sports. So I just had a lot of different, it's not just that one 4-minute moment, which when my instructor told me that, I was like, yes, because I was freaked out.
Wow.
But $10,000 did ride on that moment and on that week, and I ended up winning first place, which meant I also got to bring home and I sold $10,000.
That is so awesome.
Yes.
Congratulations. I think
Thank
that's
you.
just really, really fabulous. And along with all of that, you get to go to USC.
That didn't quite stem from that, but it kind of did. But yes, I'm
Because you have a scholarship.
I have a scholarship. It didn't come from Young Arts. That came from USC, like directly. But yes, I'm so
Someone heard about you.
Someone heard about me. Someone read my application. Was like, oh, let's give them a shot. All right. So
wow.
It's been my dream school for I don't know how long, but I'm there.
Do you have family that's done the USC thing? No.
Nope.
So you're the first one.
I'm the first one.
Pole.
My family's all from the South, so
okay.
None of them went to any West Coast schools. So I'm kind of the first one to now go West Coast.
Well, it's going to be amazing.
My parents are happy because I'm only 40 minutes away. I'm happy because they're only 40 minutes away.
I have been on the campus and UCLA too, and it's a completely different lifestyle in that kind of environment. Yeah. But I'm sure you will meet the challenge, and wasn't even aware that they had a music program. Is it relatively new?
Thornton is not quite new. I don't want to give numbers because the USC people are going to see this and go, no. But I know Berklee School of Music, obviously you're familiar in Boston. Uh-huh. They've been around for quite a while, their songwriting program. But like I think Thornton was like late 90s, early 2000s. So it's been like 20-ish years, I want to say. But it's definitely pretty well established. They've had some decently big people come through it. A lot of the artists that I listen to actually came through USC, which is kind of freaky.
That's great.
About that.
That's really great.
Super cool. One of the openers for Taylor Swift this time, they're in a band called Muna. Phenomenal band, one of my favorites out there right now coming up. But all three of them went to USC, and two of them were at Thornton.
Oh, that's really commendable. That's really good to know.
So hopefully I'll be opening for Taylor Swift.
Let's get back. I know, that should happen. Let's get back to the actual writing of music. Like some people I've interviewed, they start with maybe the hook, and then they think about it a little while, maybe put the lyrics someplace else or put it in a drawer or get back to it in a couple of weeks or whatever. So tell us your process of how, when you write a song, generally, how does it happen with you? Yeah, sure. This is going to sound kind of weird, but it's almost like I'm entering into a moment and I'm trying to capture everything that I'm feeling in that moment. One of my favorite songwriters says, like, when I write, her name's Lucy Dacus, she says, when I write, I'm finding out how I feel about things. So like, it's a kind of a conversation with myself, especially like that first song, Indirect Collision, how I felt about that breakup, how I was feeling exactly. So I kind of go into this moment and I try to like extract absolutely everything I can, everything I feel. And I can never like put something down and come back to it. I usually start with a guitar chords, which kind of gives me some parameters. And then I kind of find a melody over it. And then I start forming words out of my melody. It's like if I'm going, na, 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 I walked across them, I just kind of let it spill out because I'm exploring how I'm feeling. And most of it's bad, but sometimes you say something really good in that little stream of creativeness, and then you go, ooh, that's the line. I'm going to take that one, and then you build the rest. Like your mom, like you were saying, your mom was the influence, and it probably was a really rough time for you to be the responsible person to take your mom to the hospital. Yeah. So there must have been a whole lot of emotion involved in that whole process. I was like, I have to write about this. Like, this is so charged with emotion. I feel so much right now. But honestly, like the whole time I was with her, I wasn't thinking about that because I was just worried about her. Sure. And then when she said that, she kind of set it off, and I was like, oh, it's on. Okay, I'm gonna write. Yeah. Yeah. Now, so do you carry a tablet with you, or how do you come to the writing part of it? Sure. Some people are like hardcore pen and paper, and I love that for them, but I have terrible handwriting, so I could not do that. But I do, like on my iPhone, I just have like my notes app and my voice memos, and it's all like synced up to the cloud. So if my phone like gets thrown in the ocean, like it's all still there. Like, if you have a notebook and it's in the ocean, then I guess your songs are gone. Right, like, right. But I'm constantly writing down like little one-liners that I hear, like if I'm in conversation with someone. So many of my songs have come about that way. Someone says something to me and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm gonna put that down. So I have like kind of a vault of just these little one-liners, little concepts. I write all my set lists in there, or my grocery list, so everything's kind of digitalized. I write my like to-do, all of that sort of stuff is just all kind of in one place, so that I don't lose it. And I'm always recording what I'm doing because, like I said, I'm in a moment. And so sometimes I say something really cool and then I forget it in a second after it happens. So you write it down so you don't forget. So I pause my recording and I go back and I listen. I go, is there anything of note in that thing I just said? Sometimes there isn't, but sometimes there is. So you probably are a bit brilliant to be able to do that kind of thing, right? I know one gal is a calculus teacher. She loves calculus, you know, and I think it's a left brain, right brain thing that some of you musicians just are amazing. You know, incredibly intelligent and engaged in the process, and like, what do you do for your spare time? Well,
well, I write music. What do you do for your job? I write music. Okay.
Exactly. So it's almost an obsession, but it's a really good obsession because it's so creative.
I would qualify it as an obsession. That is for sure.
Do you ever take any breaks? Like, okay, I'm going to take the day off, or does that ever happen?
I did that today, actually. I took the day off. Sometimes you just need space from that, and sometimes I want to write a song so badly, like I feel like it's coming out of me, it's happening. Like it's like having a child. It's like, oh my God, it's happening right now, and and it feels very stressful. And so when it gets to that point of stress, I'm like, this is not gonna make anything good. I will write down what I have, and like, this is not happening. I'm putting you down. You're done. I may never finish that song, but like, sometimes you just need space. So like today, I took a day of space and a day of rest. And probably tomorrow I will go back to making content, you know, writing, all of that sort of stuff.
And now some people talk about the muse, like there's a spiritual part of this that is completely out of your control. Do you get that feeling too?
I think I've had it for so long. Like that's why it came naturally to me as a kid, is because there was this sort of like weird godlike thing delivering messages to me. But it's very true for me, at least. I mean, sometimes people are like, how'd you write that? I was like, I don't know. It was like 15 minutes on my guitar, and it just like happened. So that's been happening to me for basically as long as I can remember.
So how many songs do you think you actually have? Because I've only heard you do a few, because I've only known you a few weeks. But
sure.
But how many do you think you have? Because there must just be so many, hundreds. Right?
They asked me this in my USC audition. I said, I don't know how to answer that. Like, I'm writing every day, minus the times, like rare times that I put my guitar down, but I'm at least writing a little melody here, a little melody there, and I try to finish out like anything that I start. That's like one of the lessons that my artist friends, some of my friends who are in the business, who are kind of becoming successful now, have told me, is like, if you start something, like try to finish it all the way through, like push through the roadblocks. Like, it's just so much learning when I'm like, do not know what to say. I don't know what to say here. I don't know what's going on, but I need to like push through that roadblock so that this can become a career. If I'm in a room with, you know, Lady Gaga, I can't be like, I don't know. Like, that would be horrible and mortifying. So you have to push through the roadblocks. And I've had that, you know, when I've had experience co-writing with people, it's so much about like, we're just sitting in a room and then it gets really awkward and we're like, okay, anyone have any ideas? It's just like, you have to push through. You have to learn how to deal with stuff like that. So the best way to start is to do that on your own.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have like 500 zillion songs. There's your answer.
Sure. And I know, like, I'm really familiar with a group called Venice. I don't know if you've heard of them or not.
I don't know if I have.
They were related to the Lennon sisters, which were really popular when Lawrence Welk was on TV, and the Lennon sisters were the amazing harmony that they did. And so this Venice group, they're all, the Lennon sisters are the parents of these guys who are called Venice, and they're out of Santa Monica. But they are really popular in the Netherlands. And so they go there all the time, as opposed to, they perform in the United States too, but mostly they go there. And then when they get done doing their touring, they often, at least once a year, will get together just to write music, because they're so busy touring and performing. The writing of the music is secondary. And so it's interesting how the process evolves when they've got, I'm sure, I don't even know if they've got hundreds of songs too, but they get together, and sometimes they record with other people who are not even in the room with them, because they do arrangements with instruments with other people, and you know, the process is so fascinating that it's not one way to do it. There's like all kinds of different genres and methods, and you know, but you still got to know the music, right?
Yep,
got to know the music, and have, sometimes it's just the right people at the right time, do the influencing, and
a little bit of magic just in the room.
Yeah. So you were talking about how you go into LA and go to some clubs and stuff like that. Is that something you do frequently, or?
I'm just now starting to. I've played a lot with like other people as a guitar player in their bands, because when I do a lot of songwriting, I play in really interesting ways that not a lot of other people play in. That's not a brag thing. That's just true. Like, everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. This sounds good." But they're like, I get called up a lot, like, can you play guitar on this? Can you play keys on this? Can you play drums on this? You know, and I always go up. It's so fun. But now I'm starting to like break in on my own. I've got my first show, like, I don't know, 3 days away now.
Oh, that's awesome.
LA, which is great.
Yeah.
So kind of a bucket list. It's not super big, but it's still like just a step in the right direction. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sure you'll get many more gigs. And the more, we were talking earlier about social media. And tell me again, because you turned me on to about the band and the, what's it called? The spelling is odd, peculiar, but tell us how you've got an initial site to go to and then it leads you other places.
Yeah.
So
it's a link tree, if anyone's familiar. It's www.linktr.ee/this is a band name. And I did that because that was my social media handle on TikTok for a long time, because I went through a ton of really bad band names, because I didn't want to go under my name initially. And I wanted some separation from like creative and like personal life. And I was like, you know, all these different bands, and I just went, screw it. This is a band name because I don't have one, and you can deal with that how you want. And then I had a couple other people come in my life like, you need to clean up your socials, you need everything to be the same. And I was like, I'm running with the joke. So now my Instagram, my TikTok, like, and like now my link tree is that. I just honestly think it's funny. But yeah, that's how you go to get to like all of the social media. You can see my Young Arts performance there. Get tickets to that show if you're watching this early enough. Probably not, but I'm sure I will have later shows down the line that will be also linked under there.
Sure.
I have my SoundCloud for listening to some demos, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I went to your demo page. It's really cool. I like the whole setup because I used to be, you had to have a website for everything, and now I see the evolution is, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You know,
People
just give us the links and we'll get there.
Well, websites sometimes cost money to make well, and like it's such an easy service to just like put all your links in one place. That's all anyone cares about. Sometimes the aesthetic's important, but sometimes people just want to, their attention span's so short. Like if the thing takes more than 5 seconds to load, they're like, I'm done. I'm not listening to your song. It took more than 5
It's taking too long. No, I thought your method is working quite well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I travel around online to look at different people, so I think I was pretty impressed.
I appreciate that.
And it didn't take forever to find you.
I'm a Gen Zer. I kind of think about that.
And I especially like the YouTube with you playing at, where was that performance that you did for the arts?
I can't remember the like actual venue for the life of me, but it was like a concert hall in Miami. It was like 700 people there, biggest room I'd ever played to. But that was such a cool experience. I was terrified. I told you I don't get nervous.
Really?
That was one time that I felt like I was going to throw up. And maybe part of the reason is my parents weren't there, and they are at every show.
Yes.
I'm not dependent on them, but they are my number one fans, and they're here tonight, obviously, because they're always with me. But I was alone in Miami. I'd never traveled alone. I was just kind of freaked out. I was competing for a crap ton of money, and it was the biggest audience I'd ever played in front of, and the song meant a lot to me, obviously. So I actually watched that performance for the first time 2 days ago because the moment was so special for me that I knew if I went back and watched it, I would be critical of myself.
I think that the method, the photography, the way they captured you and
cool.
at the piano, it was just totally professional and well done.
Oh my God, I feel like a real artist.
It
wow.
was good. Really, really good.
But yes, I tried to watch it back
in your cap.
without a critical eye, and I tried to be nice to myself and just be like, you know, this wasn't your best run of the song. You messed up the lyrics a little bit, but you just gotta you gotta watch it at some point because everyone's telling you it was good and you have to watch it. And so I watched it back, and you know, I'll let you decide if it's good or not.
I thought it was excellent. And I know most musicians have this critical parent. It could have been better. It's not quite what I would have done. You know, I should have fixed that. Or just tell that voice to shut up.
Because my parents are the opposite. My parents are trying to talk me out of that. My parents are like, you were so good. And I was like, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. It was great. So they tried to talk me out of that, like, devil on my shoulder.
Yeah, for sure. It's just not good. Don't even listen because it's not applicable in your situation at all.
Appreciate that.
So, yeah, I think. So let me ask you this. What advice do you have for some student who's maybe even not even know for sure, they think they might want to get into music, but they're not really sure, and it's going to be too much work, and, you know, what kind of advice do you give to a young person who's thinking about it? And I know you teach, so.
Yeah. Teaching has been a lot of fun because I had a lot of mentors in my life when I was just starting out, like showing me the basics, like I was saying, and now I get to show these kids the basics. But the best piece of advice I've ever been given by anybody in this industry is just say yes to everything. And I hear that all the time from everybody I work with. Say yes to that random show that's 50 people cap. Say yes to that one recording session. Say yes to writing a song with this person even though you don't know them. Like, this industry is so much about who you know, when you know them, and you put yourself in certain situations. Like, I wouldn't have played the Whiskey in LA if I hadn't gone to Grammy camp and put myself in a certain situation and written a certain song for this artist, and then got, kind of invited myself to their studio time and recorded for them, and then I kind of became a part of that band. So it's just putting yourself in as many situations as you can, which all started with the way that my parents did it when I was a kid. But just put yourself in situations. Don't be afraid. Just do it. Everyone's in the same boat as you. We're all trying to make a career out of thin air. There's nothing palpable about my career. It's all what you hear and how you interpret what you're hearing. But that's kind of the beauty of it, and we're all just kind of in the same boat doing that. So saying yes. So
remarkable. I once interviewed Michel Legrand. You probably don't even know who he is, but we were at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and he was in the middle of something, and I asked him, what do you recommend for any young person? And that's exactly what he said. He said, always say yes, because when you say no, you never might know what you might have missed.
Yep, exactly.
And that was like his bottom line answer, which he probably told to many people, but at the time it was like, that makes so much sense.
Right, it's so simple you wouldn't even think about it, but there's so many opportunities that you can put yourself in, and if you I've just been pounding the pavement and reaching out to people and emailing people and posting as much as I can and exposing my content to different sorts of people and playing live and, taking this interview was a yes. So many small things, so many small yeses can lead to a big opportunity. Yes.
Absolutely.
A record contract, a recording deal, anything like that.
Yeah, of course. And I really I do go to Campus Jacks. In fact, the gal who used to be here at the studio, she used to go when they were in Newport Beach, because you could go and have shrimp and gumbo and all that kind of stuff. But now they've made it more of a performance venue. And Kayla there coordinates all these different acts. And this is Tuesday. We're doing this on Tuesday. Usually Tuesdays you're there with other artists who are, anxious to perform and have the support of the community and that kind of thing. And so it's good to just find venues that do that and allow open mic, and they fortunately have a piano there, and too bad we don't have one here, but because you do a great job on the piano there too. And I'm so glad that we got to meet, and that we get to talk about in length about your career and where you're going, because I just see you. I've often will predict. I even predicted Taylor Swift was going to be a big hit, and Bruno Mars. And when he did the Super Bowl, they said, "Who's Bruno Mars?" What? Who is he? I remember him when he first came on stage. I just have real admiration for Bruno Mars. And so a lot of times for something, I've been following a lot of musicians. I've probably done programming here since 1996 or something like that. And I usually go to NAMM and I meet a lot of musicians. But I just have an ear for when someone's going to be up there among the stars. And so I envision a Grammy for you sometime in your future, because you've got what it takes, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you so much. That's
I wish you the best, that you meet up with just the right people at the right time and place, because that's a lot of it is that, right? And then working with publishers and all that kind of thing is, another art form in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, what I like about NAMM is that it's like a big family when you go all the time, and you just meet so many other people that are on the same track, and and then there's new equipment and new things. It's like I do photography too. Look at the new camera equipment, or look at new software, and I'm sure that for you in the recording, we didn't talk about recording at all. Talk about that a little bit.
My recording process has been evolving for a long time. I first got started, I don't want to say 6th or 7th grade, when I first got a little bit of equipment, and I've just kind of been building my stock ever since. But I worked in GarageBand, which is just the baby version of any sort of professional recording thing. But it's always something new. I always loved to perform, and that was performing was my number one thing for a long time. And then I kind of discovered, oh, writing's really cool. Then I really got into that. And then I discovered recording. I was just exposed to all these different things. And I got exposed to recording, was like, ooh, that's cool. I'm going to do that. And so I've been doing that for a long time, but it's all through my house. I have a home studio. I've done so much production work for myself. All the demos you heard were produced by me and like fully recorded.
Yeah, and the orchestration behind me, because I've heard you, Jack's just with the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So when you get the orchestration in there and the arrangements are just really outstanding.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she even sounds like a completely different person sometimes.
Right, yeah. The full band picture is really cool, and I hope that like happens for me at some point when I get enough players together. But arranging is such a different beast than like producing. Like there's two totally different things, but for me they go hand in hand because I have a different perspective than like a standard just a producer would have, because I have the songwriting perspective. And a lot of the times before I record these songs, they've been played live. So they've lived a life already.
Sure.
And so in my head, I know how they're going to sound when I put them into a DAW, digital audio workstation. So like for Indirect Collision, that first song I played, you know, when I wrote that really I don't know, rhythmically intense guitar part, I knew exactly what I wanted in the bass and in the guitar parts, and I knew I wanted a banjo in there.
So you're hearing all these other instruments. Yeah, that's
it's
pretty much
another one of those like weird senses of like I can hear the whole thing when I am writing it, and that goes for the same for other artists too. And so like this summer, I'm starting to produce for a couple of my close friends. They want me to do their albums, and so they're gonna come out and we're gonna make music together. Same thing when I went into the studio for that other artist, like. I played guitar, drums, piano, and I sang on her record, which means I make quadruple the money, but that's not the point. I just got to play all these awesome instruments and spare them a couple, you know, not having to bring in more people. It just gives me more opportunity to do more things. I have the ability to do way more because I am multi-instrumental, because I have that songwriting knowledge, because I have produced before. And you're just super talented. I really wish you all the best, and I'm so glad we had to have this conversation. Thank you so much.
And I hope that our watching audience out there enjoys the show, and that look up, you say the name of where they can find you the best.
Find me online at This Is a Band Name, or my last name, Rabin, R-A-B as in boy, I-N.
Very good. Very good. And I've already gone there, but I'm going to keep following you too. And yeah, we'll be talking again, I'm sure.
I'll see you at Camp Jack.
I'll have to come and get your autograph sometime in the future. And maybe I'll see you at NAMM too. But this has been really fun, and I'm glad you were able to make it tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this presentation at Seal Beach Community Television. And we're planning to do this kind of thing again and again and bring this studio back to life. Thank you again, and have a good time.
Thank you.